It's more than double delight to have you back on the Rise News channel this morning. Let's go to sports with Aron Akerejola this morning.
All right, a very good morning to you, Rufai. Good morning to you, Doctor.
You're on the bell.
And Adesua, good morning.
Morning, Aaron.
All right, let's get it started. Rather unfortunate circumstances. We actually announced this yesterday, the scheduled game between Everton and Manchester City that was to go down the Goodison Park yesterday. And that game was called off 3 hours before kickoff time due to the fact that 3 unnamed players from the Manchester City ranks had or were tested positive for COVID-19. Now, this adds to the 5 that were tested on Boxing Day for COVID-19 from the Manchester City squad. And the report actually have it that Manchester City squad, some of their backroom staffs do have COVID-19, and they actually contracted this disease when they went to play Arsenal, and they were actually lodged in an hotel in London, and that was where they contracted this particular disease, because the hotel has actually even been shut down because of multiple reports about those who had actually gone to the hotel or probably lodged at the hotel going down with COVID-19. So that game was suspended yesterday and postponed indefinitely. This is the second game for Manchester City that has been postponed. Everton were not happy about that. They wanted more explanation from the Premier League. The Premier League were not going to give any more information than that. Players were not mentioned and circumstances were not mentioned. All they knew was that all that finally came out ultimately after later at night or early this morning was the fact that 3 players went down with COVID-19, and that was the reason why they suspended the game. And we look at that, you put that into context. In this period of COVID-19, a lot of people seem to always forget the fact that football are having it. They are very fortunate to still be playing at this point in time, although the Premier League must be commended for taking precautionary measures time and time again to ensure they nip this in the bud. But we'll always have the slip-ups now and again. Now, moving on to some of the games yesterday, and this is to you, Rufai. You spoke about Frank Lampard and his woeful form at the moment. Unfortunately, he didn't make matters. He didn't make a case for himself. I was the one making a case for him. I was hoping he would turn the corner. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Once again, he's been criticized for chopping and changing one too many times with Callum Odoi and some players coming into the mix in that particular draw yesterday. Olivier Giroud had actually put the team ahead thanks to a fine cross from Ben Chilwell. Ultimately, El Ghazi left Frank Lampard red-faced after 50 minutes as he poked one in, although there were claims that there were reports that in the build-up to that particular goal, Ben Chilwell was fouled. Ultimately, that did not go down well. The referee did not even pay mind to them as they went on to score. El Ghazi scoring a goal, the 5th for himself this season. You look at that, Aston Villa seems to be a hard nut to crack after missing out on relegation by the Whiskers. They are doing so well this season, and Frank Lampard also attested to the fact that his former mate John Terry, who is assisting Dean in Aston Villa, he's doing a fantastic job. Moving away from that, it was also bad news for another Nigerian. We've been talking about Semi Ajayi doing so well for his team, the Baggies. Kelechi Promising Iheanacho was given an opportunity to register his name on the score sheet for the Foxes Leicester City on the day as they traveled to the Selhurst Park in London to play Crystal Palace. That wasn't meant to be. He was given the penalty in the 90th minute and flunked his lines. Brendan Rodgers was leaving. Ultimately, they were actually held to a 1-1 draw at the Selhurst Park, and that meant that Leicester City missed a golden opportunity to climb up the ranks in the table. At the moment, it is very tight on top of the table, and everyone seems to be jostling for points. And missing out on 2 key points certainly will frustrate that particular manager there, talking about Brendan Rodgers. Moving away from that, let's look at how things played out in the Nigerian Professional Football League. We said for the first time in 9 months, game began some days ago, and yesterday also we saw some games rock the nation. And more importantly, more games will be played today and tomorrow, which is good news. I actually hope precautionary measures are taken to ensure that they're getting tested for COVID-19, and more importantly, not just getting tested, and those players are probably isolated in a bubble like we see happen in the Premier League or in other sports around the world. Yesterday, Casino United beating Heartland yesterday, 3-2. It was a goalless affair in Uyo as Akwa United were held to a goalless draw by Dakada. Later on today, low-flying Eyimba International, as they like to call themselves, all right, the Elephants of Aba will be playing against Abia Warriors. Let's see what becomes of that particular one. And that is a local derby, by the way. And Rivers United against Rangers will also sizzle tomorrow. Now, moving away from that quickly, later on today in the English Premier League, we will have some fixtures actually play out in the English Premier League. Arsenal will seem to build on that particular win against Chelsea. Can they double their advantage? Is left to be seen. Also, we'll have Burnley in action against West Ham United. Let's see if that one also sizzles. And also, Sam Allardyce will be hoping to grab all 3 points against Leeds United, and Manchester United will have a tough day to destiny against Wolves. And Tottenham against Fulham will be wrapping up things. Not forgetting Newcastle United against Liverpool. Some of the fixtures there. Now turning to the NBA, quite a lot of action actually happened. Everyone knows how the Lakers celebrated when they won that particular title, thanks to LeBron James. But things are not just panning out well for them, as the Trailblazers beat them 115-107. All right, it was the Dame affair. Damian Lillard actually rising to the highest and making himself count in the day. LeBron James certainly left puzzled and once again losing this season. You can see him with his hands akimbo, not understanding what is happening to the Lakers this season. The Lakers are doing well, but in the regular season, they seem to be, maybe they've partied too hard, or they seem to have let their guards down. They should be doing better than what they're doing right now. But unfortunately, that's how things actually played out. Now, quickly to the Rockets, to the Houston Rockets, they themselves also they were hoping to sell James Harden. James Harden put in 35 points in this particular game, but that wasn't enough because that man there on the screen, Jokic, did what is so remarkable. He actually broke a record. The first time since 1968 did a center in the NBA get 18 points. Nikola Jokic getting 18 points, 18 assists, I beg your pardon, in that particular fixture. You look at that and you say to yourself that if they can put themselves together, and more importantly, have a very regular and a very straight run in the season, the Nuggets will be title contenders, and hopefully they can get postseason things up and running, and maybe find themselves in the NBA Finals, and maybe win a championship. Let's see how things play out.
I'd like to comment about Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against Lampard. I mean, when Lampard came in, as a Chelsea fan, we felt a club hero. We love club heroes. We want them to do well, just like Man U fans felt excited when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in. We love club heroes. We want them to do well, just like Liverpool fans felt excited when Kenny Dalglish took over Liverpool. But it has to be said, when you see a coach that is not ready to take the bull by the horn, that is not ready to improve on where he used to be, that has a lot of resource to do it, and they can't motivate the boys, then you know there's a problem. So no matter what you do, you keep going round in circles. So I've been watching this series on Amazon Prime that Mourinho was in. It's called All or Nothing, and it's like a backroom expose into how clubs are run. And Jose Mourinho will always say something, that whatever happens on the pitch doesn't affect your confidence. The referee, anything, it is about you and the mentality of winning. What I see the Chelsea side lacks is the mentality of winning, and it's the coach that has to put that in them. Lampard is not doing that. Lampard is very indecisive. Look at the changes yesterday. You will know. He can't stick to a team.
I would like to say this on behalf of Frank Lampard. You should understand this. Chelsea is one of the worst places to actually coach football. You and I know that. Because even the Mourinho you've mentioned has gone to Chelsea and he's been undone at Chelsea. Not once, but twice. Chelsea is one of the hardest places. They're trigger happy. They fire coaches at will. They do not give coaches time to settle. So cut Frank Lampard some slack. He might come good. He might not. And if he does not come good, you know he will be fired. That's Chelsea for you.
It's one of the hardest places to coach a team. But don't forget, this same Jose Mourinho you talked about, has done it over and over again with Chelsea.
Well, Aaron, before you go, Everton is asking for full disclosure.
Yes.
Over the decision to postpone the match 4 hours to kick-off time. What full disclosure are they asking for? I thought that it was important to take that precaution. And what do the rules say?
This is it here. The rule says that you must have at least 14 players fit to be able to prosecute any football game. And the question Everton are saying is, on the match day, usually they always have registered 18 people penned out to play the game.
Okay, Aaron. Okay, Aaron. We need to go quickly, Aaron. I know you'll make that point some other days.